Well, anybody who knows anything about a PTR 91 or the HK 91s is they are absolutely nasty to the brass that they eject. And if you're lucky, you might find half of your brass. I just consider myself lucky if I find a third of it. Well, I'm getting ready to load my next batch of ammunition for it. And even though Lake City is starting to, once fired Lake City is starting to come back again, all that work you have to put into it just to have half of it wind up, off in the woods somewhere or just crushed beyond use, I didn't want to spend my time doing that. So instead, I just went ahead and bit the bullet, or maybe the better saying would be bit the cartridge, and bought some brass that's already been prepped from Top Brass. It's been sized, decrimped, trimmed, and it's supposed to be ready to load. So let's take a look at what we have. Ready to load brass cartridges. Once fired military NATO. Guaranteed. Sorted, deprimed, reamed, cleaned, sized, trimmed, polished, and inspected. 250 rounds. Does look good. They seem to have it pretty darn small, which is fine. I can live with that. Go gauge. No go gauge on the primer pocket. 308. Case gauge. Looks good. They trimmed it down a little bit short, which is fine. I'm not going to do every one of them, but I think that's a pretty good example of some of them. 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, and bonus 3. All the cases appeared to be 2020 2021 or 2022, and this is June of 22, so you're getting some pretty modern stuff in there. So next thing will be to prime them and get them ready for loading. Okay, 250 pieces of top brass, Lake City, they're pre-prepped. In total, I received 253 pieces. 2 pieces, the primer pockets were too big, wouldn't hold a primer, so I crushed them. They're going into the scrap bucket. And then the last spare just went into a pile of good but oddball 308 and 7.62 cases. So 200 of these are going to be loaded with 175 grain Sierra match bullets and Winchester 748, and then 50 of these are going to be used for 147 grain experiments. So hopefully I'll have those done by this evening sometime. But first I'm going to do some Starline brass that needs to be sized and primed for my FN AR. Just dropped the 5th batch, which will be load number 305, which is 45 grains of IMR 4064. And this particular load out of the Lyman book goes up to 48 grains, but as you can see, it's going to be a compressed load with these Lake Cities. So, yeah, watch out for that. Yeah, be careful about that. Of course, if I went all the way to 48, it'd just be spilling out there, so there's no sense even thinking about that. Don't feel any crunching. Don't feel any movement in the case either, so if it is compressed, which I do believe it is, it shouldn't be very compressed, so I don't think there's going to be too much trouble. I probably won't get onto the range with this particular rifle, the PTR 91, till sometime in August, because later on in July, which is later this, well, it's July now, I'll be heading up to Ohio, and hopefully I'll get a chance to go to Thunder Valley and try taking the 300 rum out to 1 mile. So pretty much all my range time is going to be concentrated on lead development and practice with that rifle. And 30-06, because I don't think I'll get it out to 1 mile, but I'd like to try it at least, say 800 to 1,000. With these 147s, that's going to be it. apparently one of my cases didn't have a primer in it. Well, it's not apparent. One of the cases didn't have a primer in it. And 748 is fine enough that it just sat there and spilled out of the case out through the primer flash hole. So these are ones that I've already. These are ones that I haven't loaded yet, obviously. So something to keep in mind. Well, that was the first one that wasn't at 42.5. So far, except for the one, I'm not even worried about that one. Every one of them has hit 42.5. That Lyman powder measure is really good once you get it dialed in, and it's quick with the ball powder. Okay, load 215 is done. 200 rounds for the PTR 91. Everything passes the case gauge. Winchester primer. Winchester 748 powder, 42.5 grains. These are some pulled down Sierra Match Kings bought from Rocky Mountain Reloading a few years ago. And top brass prepped Lake City brass. So now just a matter of getting out and shooting them. Have a few things going on for the next month or so, it's going to be a while before I get to shoot this one. So this is where we're going to conclude this part. Thank you. And a real quick finishing video is on the PTR. I just installed a Magpul stock, and so just wanted to grab a real quick video before I took off for the day because I want to get this video uploaded. So that's going to look good on testing these loads and shooting.